And welcome to Mark's Noon Show. We are late. Welcome to Mark's Noon Show. I just wanted to hop on quickly and see how your afternoon is going. I hope all is well. I got a lot going on. So shout out to everybody. Normally it's 7:15 every morning. You can find me on Facebook Live with my message for Reinventing Group, Reinventing Mark Clark, Reinventing You. It's every morning at 7:15 on, multiple Facebook Live channels and even YouTube. So shout out to everybody who follows and everybody who's joined my reinvention group. Please do go to the website reinventingmarkclark.com, also where you can get the book. So today I just want to quickly hop on and talk about books and you. When you're reading, I just got these two books in the mail, which, these are classics. How to Win Friends and Influence People, the only book you'll need to lead you to success. Of course, this is a famous book from Dale Carnegie. It's almost, this is, you see this, everybody quotes this book. A lot of people have been influenced by this book. It's definitely a go-to. And this is in that same category, Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as If Your Life Depended on It, Chris Voss. Okay. Another book that everybody, quotes and many use in their daily life. And I think when you read these books, you never think that you have within yourself a book that could be one of those kind of books. You got Tina Turner's story. By the way, shout out to Tina Turner. Her documentary's coming to HBO in March. She's told her story. Everybody's talking about Judas and the Black Messiah. Bobby Seals and Stephen Shames, Power to the People, The World of the Black Panthers. Amazing book telling a story. And these books are all amazing. They have a story to share. You can learn from them. The experiences enrich your life, and they stick with you, and some resonate more than others. But my message is that you too have a book inside of you. We all have stories, and thanks to the times, you can self-publish. You can put your own book out there and get it popping. You don't have to wait for somebody to sign you. I'm a 30+ year radio guy. We had to get on the platform back in the day. You had to wait for a radio station to hire you. Now you can go on Facebook Live, do your own TV show, do your own radio show, write your own book. And so with my books, same thing, telling a story. My Papa Is was inspired by Allison and her relationship with her father. And, growing up, Allison would tell me about the stories, the games that Dad played. And of course, I got a chance to get to know Dad, and I saw their interactions and these games and these activities and the interaction, the relationship. And when Dad was in the hospital, I wrote this book, and it really was about the interaction, and also I understood that, the daddy-daughter conversation is powerful. We need books about Black fathers and Black kids. And so I wrote the book. And so we lost Dad a couple years ago, but we have the book. My Papa Is. And Dad always wanted to be called Papa. I always thought that was special. He wanted to be called Papa. He had a name he wanted his children to call him. And I thought our first argument was about that. And of course, then this book, My Three Dogs. Now, I wrote this book about our three dogs. Lady Bird, Brownie, and our latest edition, Gabby. Now, little did I know that we were going to lose Brownie. But again, we forever have him in this book that is shared with the world, My Three Dogs. And again, that's the beauty of books, And then lastly, for me, these are my three books. I actually have another book too. I'll tell you about Big Daddy and the Trampoline. Once again, about me and the girls and my experience on the trampoline. And again, a true story about when Nana bought the girls a trampoline and I wanted to jump on it, but I weighed too much, you know? And so just like we order books from authors, famous authors, and just like we support those authors, number one, you got a book inside you. And again, there are ways you can do the book. You don't have to be the best writer. You get an editor. You don't have to be the best artist. You get get someone to do that. You can do this. You can do this. Tell your story. All you got to do is pull out your phone and record yourself telling your story, and you can get it moving. You know what I'm saying? And if you have any questions from how to do it, if you have any questions on anything about self-publishing, I'm not the OG in the game, but I've gone through the process, and I know people who know people. So again, reach out to me. And if you want to purchase my books, go to reinventingmarkclark.com, reinventingmarkclark.com. I see people joining in. I see Karen. What's up, Karen? Hey, what's going on, Deidre? Ronald, what's up, my friend? Kerwin Phillips, what's up, brother? Kerwin, if you want to, yeah, man, if you want to get your book to me, I'll send you my email. And if you want to come on and talk about your book, I can send you a link right now. If you want to do that, just let me know. Put your email in the comment section, and I'll send you a link right now. And so, that's what we're talking about. What's up, Showtime? What I'm realizing is, guys, we were talking about this yesterday. Really, okay, Ronald, hit me up, bruh. Hit me up. And again, if I don't have the answers, I know some people who do. We talked about this the other day. Are you squeezing all the life? Are you squeezing all the juice out of life? Is there something that you want to do? Is there somewhere you want to go? Is there some person you want to be? This is the time, man. Why settle? Go for it. So I'm gonna send a link to you now. I'm gonna send the link to you now, my brother. I'll write it down. Go for it. I'm gonna get my brother on. I'm gonna send it to you right now, G. And get it popping. All right. I'll send that to you now. And Lenora said, what did I miss? Hey, I was just Lenora, I was talking about if you have a book, that you want to do, go for it. I was talking about how we buy everybody else's books, and these classic books that we all have to get inspired, to get information, and we all have stories to tell. And what's going on, Rick? We got my man Rick in the building, part of the reinvention crew. Rev T. Wait a minute. The crew's reporting to the noon show. What's going on, May? Yeah. We were talking about, yes. Rick, don't say that. Look, man, everybody's going to tell your story. Rick, I thought about you when I posted the thing yesterday about, are you squeezing all the juice out of life? I thought about you. You've been squeezing the juice out of life your whole life, dude. People need to be inspired by you, man. People need to. And you know, it's not going to stop. You're going to be the 80-year-old dude doing what you do. Rev T, you crazy. So yeah. So the self-publishing thing, the great news is there are ways to do it. All you got to do, the first step is just record yourself. You could type it up. What's up, Lynn? What's up, fam? You can type it up. You could record yourself on a phone and tell the story. You know, if it's your life story, if it's a kiddie story, and just get it out. Just freestyle it and record it. And then you get somebody to edit it. So don't worry about people say, I'm not a good writer. I don't know where to start. You start by telling your story. Like I said, record it, and then you can have it transcribed. You could write it yourself and then send it to a service that transcribes. And again, I can help because I did that. I basically wrote it myself, and then I hired a editor off of, there's a website called Fiverr. There's a website called, there's a couple different sites where you can hire editors. And then I hired illustrators. I tried Fiverr for Illustrator. There's a site called Upwork. You know, Upwork and Fiverr, you could get anything done. If you need an assistant, if you need somebody to help you do this, help you do that, you can get anything done. So there's no excuse. Then there's, if you want to self-publish, what's up? We got author Stretch Garrett. So I'm going to have Kerwin come on. Stretch, if you have time, send me your email and I'll add you to the conversation, because Stretch is a published author. And in fact, his hotness is out there as we speak. So yeah, Stretch, if you want to hop on right now, I'm going to add, ladies and gentlemen, the world famous, ladies, be careful. Kerwin Phillips is in the building. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
So Kerwin, you say you have a book out, or you?
Yes, sir. It's right here.
Look at that. Look at that. Malik's first job. Wait, let me give you some love, man. Look, first of all, man, I love the artwork. I love what you're saying. So Kerwin, tell us about your book.
Yeah, so this book, as it says, financial principles for teens, where I get it right in the camera. It's about a young man going on his first job interview. Then shortly thereafter, after he lands the job, soon realizes that he doesn't know how to manage money. So he seeks out wisdom from his dad, who provides him with several principles he can use that can help him, learn and develop good money management skills. So I cover, a wide range of topics that are pretty much the basics for young people to learn, but hopefully that they'll be able to use this book as a resource and learn key money habits that can help them as they grow into and become adults. Because we see today that a lot of adults struggle financially with, people living paycheck to paycheck, not having money saved. Let's get these kids, give them a better chance to do things better than what we did.
Kerwin, brother, I have this, my reinventing group, we're focusing on everything, but if, initially I'm on the treadmill at 7:15 talking about weight loss. What I realized, Kerwin, is I have an issue with discipline. I realize I have an issue with discipline from a standpoint of, portion control. And I also have an issue with finances when it comes to when I have have lump sums of money,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I think a part of it stems from not really, Kerwin, getting into the habit of saving. So
Yep.
talk to us about that. I think if I have, you know, just like food, I think if you come from a family that saves, you probably are going to save. If you come from a family that, you know, so is that true, Kerwin? In your experience, you know, where do the basics begin?
You know, I feel that I think the one reason why a lot of people struggle with money is that people don't set goals for themselves. You know, because once you set a goal, that's creating a target for you that you're trying to reach and gives you a focal point, right? So let's say if you're saving, let's say you want to say, you know, I want to have X amount, I want to have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses set to the side, and you say to yourself, okay, well, in order for you to reach that goal, every paycheck I need to put to the side, you know, $50 or $100. Then that's the first step. Say, okay, well, you know, mentally that okay, I want to be able to achieve this goal. Now I have this money set to the side. Now sometimes, you know, when saving, you know, as most of us, you know, we lack that discipline. But today we have the technology that allows us to do things automatically. You know, when you have your direct deposit, you know, just go ahead and have a separate account that's not local, like have like an online bank where you have minimum access to the funds, and just have that money automatically sent over there where you don't even see it, right? And then, you know, of course, you know, maybe in the back of your mind, you may know that okay, the money is there, but it's going to take you some time to get access to it. You know, it may take you 2 or 3 days to withdraw it, so that's going to be like a little deterrent to say, okay, well, it's going to take me too long to get to it, so I'm going to leave it there anyway, and you just work with what you have. But the first key element in building like a good financial foundation is to pay yourself first. Oftentimes, you know, when we go through our budget, we say, okay, I need to pay Dominion, I need to pay my phone bill, I need to pay my car payment, and then you pay all those bills first, and then you leave, you know, the result or the, you know, what's left after for yourself. But you are your first bill, you are your first obligation, right? So there's a guideline that says take at least 10% of what you earn, at least 10%, and put it away and pay yourself first, and put that someplace where, again, you're not going to touch it. Some folks take it and invest it, right? And let that money accumulate and build and appreciate from that standpoint. But then also knowing where to put the money where you can get a good return on it. You know, some folks invest in stocks, right? But just learning, you know, key elements of money. You know, oftentimes, you know, when we get our first paychecks or we get cash in hand, it doesn't come with instructions on how to use it.
Man. So Kerwin, when we do first, what's the name of your book again? I need to someone said put the name up again. Malik's First Job: Financial Principles for Teens. I was going to try to type it real fast, but I'm clumsy. So just y'all check it out there. So Ronald has a good question. He said, when you come from the hood, you never was shown, shown this. It's all about surviving. And so, you know what's so funny, man? Ronald, great point. And I definitely, again, food, diet, when I'm on food and money. When I'm broke, when I'm broke, all bets are off. Heading to McDonald's for a $3, whatever. And I tap into the money. So Kerwin, with the pay yourself piece,
right?
Okay, so you owe a phone bill, you owe a car bill. They're about to come get your car. Do you still pay yourself first and deal with those? Because what you pay yourself isn't going to be enough to cover the car anyway. But so do you just is that just written in stone? You pay yourself and then deal with the past due bills. How do you prioritize?
Well, sometimes, you know, you may not be able to do 10%, you know, based on your financial obligations. You may say, okay, you know what, I can only afford to put 5% to the side. Or you may say, you know what, right now, the way things are, I can only put $1 to the side right now.
But do something.
Do something just to create that habit, right? And then as things change, then you're able to add more to it, you know. But the key is to start the discipline and start the habit. And then you'll see, you know, as things progress and things get better, then you say, you know, I could change this $1. Now I could change it to $5. Now I can afford to do $10. Or, and as you said, the discipline, if we really sat down, look at our budgets, and what we spend money on, right? We see that we waste a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Right? Now, I come from the corporate background, and oftentimes, let's say on your way to work, people stop off at Wawa or Starbucks, right? You get coffee, donut, breakfast sandwich in the morning. That, let's say that runs you $10. Then lunchtime comes. Oh, you want to go to Panera, wherever? Just even number. Let's give another $10 for lunch. Throughout the day, you go to the snack machine, you get you a drink, get you some peanuts, chips. That's another $5. Let's say for on a daily basis, you spend $25 on food and snacks. 5 days a week, that's $125, right? Whereas you could have just saved that money, went to the grocery store, take your lunch to work, make your coffee at the house, and almost cut that in half and use that money to save, right? So oftentimes when people say, I ain't got it, it's just that you haven't really analyzed and took the time to look and see what you're spending and see where we can reallocate some funds and do some things different.
Like today, I finally got some money and I hadn't been to the store. And it's crazy because, again, when you're trying to do the right thing with your organics and all this kind of stuff, I mess around at Whole Foods.
Oh, wow.
And spend, $146, and the good news is, so like you said, the good news is you got the goods, but there's no reason for me to spend outside of the household for food for at least, a week, 4 days, 3-4 days.
Right.
But and that, like you said, that's the kind of mentality. If you're going to spend like that, if you bought your groceries, then there's no reason why we should be ordering anything outside.
Yeah.
But of course, when I come home, the girls done ordered all kind of stuff.
Yeah. And what the funny thing is, sometimes you'll go to the grocery store and buy stuff for the week and still go out and buy stuff every day.
Exactly.
That's the sad part.
And so, wait a minute. So, look, man, I'm hearing an accent, Kerwin. Are you from New York?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so interesting. So, are you in New York?
Oh no, I'm in Virginia. I'm in Richmond.
Okay. And so, anybody that has questions, we have comments. Definitely comments. So, Rev T says he's speaking the truth. He said, "Waste money. I come from Southeast." See, and it's interesting. The hood mentality, or my father-in-law would say the poverty mentality. It is a survivor mode. Right. And the funny part about money for me that I've and everybody knows, who knows me knows. So my wife, since 2008, Allison has been the breadwinner to a degree, right?
Okay.
And when I working in media, making six figures, it sounds crazy, but Kerwin, you understand, it's like even with that, I found myself not making enough money. Now what it speaks to, though, it's the habits. It speaks to the expenses that you've accumulated. It also speaks to not managing money properly. Right. And I just think it's interesting that I think when you talk about we always talk about Black folks. It's not just Black folks, but when we talk about Black folks, people in general are living beyond your means. No matter how much money you make, it seems like you spend more when you make more. Yeah. And so what is that called, Kerwin? Like, what is that called? That's the average American, probably. Yeah,
because you can look back. I remember on the ESPN 30 for 30, they had the program Broke, where they spoke about the athletes that within 5 years of like a NFL player or NBA star retiring from the league, they're filing bankruptcy, and they're making millions of dollars.
Right.
Right. So it comes again from the bad habits, right? There's a phrase: "A fool and his money will always part."
Hey, wait a minute, man! You call me a damn fool?
I ain't talking. I'm not talking about you, because we're all guilty of it. Like I said, for me to write this book, it shows I went through some experiences of poor money management that I had to kind of learn and re-discipline myself throughout the years. So again, the fact that it doesn't matter how much you make, if you don't have the right habits set in place, you'll see that money go right out the door.
Man, it's so funny. See, Tavon says I'm joking with some of my words, but it's true. Came with a family of paychecks. Paycheck was normal. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. And I realized that um, you know, also the circles that you get in
Yep.
also can shed light onto things. So with my wife, it's like a tale of two cities.
Mm-hmm.
My mother's house in Springfield, Illinois. My mom passed away. Did not have the funds. For the burial. Did not have the funds. For
Sorry to
this
hear
and
that.
for that. And so you got the house situation, and it's kind of like versus Allison's parents' house was paid for,
Mm-hmm.
and so upon the advice of a friend, we dealt with, my father-in-law was still alive. We didn't do a will, we did a trust.
Mm-hmm.
And then talking with our friend who's a financial guy, he he caught us up on game. You know how we say
Right.
I was like, it was like a light came on about like whole life insurance or full life insurance or whole life insurance.
Whole life.
And also tying that into a trust situation where
Mm-hmm.
you say exactly what you want, where you want your money to go when you're no longer here, and you also have funds for your kids. And
Right.
that simple conversation changed our life in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. And that's why when people talk about information is power, that's what they're really talking about.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
When you start talking about where to, like you said earlier, where to put your money, how to invest your money,
Right.
Savings. It's always back to savings. So, the thing about that whole life piece is that monthly nut is a monster.
Mm-hmm.
But there's pluses to that.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of stuff that a lot of times Black folks, we're not in the room, or we don't have the connection, or we just don't know, and we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And
Right.
again, I think of my mother. My mother's one of her, not it wasn't a fear, but one of the things she really wanted was she wanted to be buried a certain place, and she wanted it to be taken care of. But when she had to be put into assisted living and stuff, all that changed. And that's the other thing, Kerwin, that me and Allison both learned, because we lost all our parents.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
That piece right there, like that.
Right.
If you have to take care of your parents in a home situation, or the cost of that is, man, it can break you.
Yes.
And you don't really know it until you're there. If it's your parents, if it's you, because again, we don't talk about it. And so anybody who's listening to this, please sit down with a financial advisor and have that conversation about it. Is there an insurance if you have a catastrophic situation and you have to have somebody take care of you? What's the best insurance for you? Is a will better for you? Is a trust better for you? What do you want your retirement to look like? All these things are questions. I'm in my 50s. These are questions that if you deal with it earlier, you'll have a better outcome because you can plan for it. But again, we don't talk about it. That's why I love your book, Kerwin, because you're having a conversation about money for kids.
Yes.
And that's so important.
Yes. They have time on their side. So the earlier that you have the conversation, as you said, they have more time to plan. We speak about, investing and the science of compound interest. Imagine if you started, a young person starts investing and putting the money away into like their 401k or into the stock market or whatever the case may be at the age of 20. And then by the time they're 65, if they play their cards right, just by putting money away, they could be a millionaire by the time they reach 50.
Well, like the whole life game, the whole life insurance piece, wealthy people do the whole life for all their kids, and you can throw money into that and take it out, and you don't get penalized until you die.
Right.
And it's like, you're like, what? So then you start to understand how people can, buy property, buy this, do this, and because you're always like, the question I think always is like, where's the cash come from? But
right. You gotta,
and then lastly, Tavon has a good point. He says, but everybody aren't in those circles. That's true. and not people in the hood teach these things. And that's true. And I think that's the responsibility for us to do, for us to talk about it and then take this information to the hood. Because the one thing about the hood, I was thinking about when I was coming up, we lost our house. We lost the family house, like most black folks do. It's the oldest game in the book, right? Big Mama got the house.
Yep.
Big Mama got the house. Everybody's living in the house. Ain't nobody paying nothing. Now, if everybody was paying something, even if it was just we're going to pay, blank amount a month to the house fund,
right,
and invest it or whatever, then but just like with us, what happened with us was when we tried to buy the house, the family house, people didn't sign the papers. It's trying to get 5 or 6 people to sign a piece of paper. They don't do it, and guess what? The house goes for taxes. Wow. So everybody lost out. You know what I mean? Right. And you see that, and because that's what happens a lot in the hood, and people like, and it's not just black folks, that's America though. And it's just like, if we had that conversation, and if we assess what we have, even like in America, everybody wants to have their own place, but maybe it works better if we have a place and we all invest in it, like other people from other countries do. People do that from other countries because they're used to that. And in the U.S., it's kind of that image of every man for himself.
Separation.
Which is kind of like, it's kind of like pull yourself up by the bootstraps. It's not really accurate. And that's why other people from other countries, other communities, and Africans, Jamaicans, Hispanics, people from other countries, they have a more of a household that includes grandma and grandpa and the family, because you can build from that.
Right. Right. But I know that the young brother spoke about the information not being sent to the hood, or it's not talked about in the hood. But fortunately, like I tell this to my kids all the time, we live in the information age.
Yes.
Right. Where the gatekeeper, at one point in time, this type of information was locked in by the gatekeepers. But now the gatekeepers no longer exist. And you have the internet. I tell my kids, on your phone, you have access to the entire planet. All the information in the universe is right here on your phone. So if you have a desire to learn more about money, you can go straight to YouTube University and learn all these different things about the different types of insurance, different types of investment plans, so on and so forth. So it's up to the individual and how, do they really desire it? If you don't have that circle around you of people that have those conversations, listen to mentors online. There's plenty of videos on YouTube about money management, about goal setting and different things. And, you have access to that. So, and again, with the phone, you have, you can conversate with people throughout the world. Like, I know that you're on Clubhouse, and there's certain rooms on Clubhouse where they have these conversations.
Ooh, man, I was on Clubhouse, and I'm intrigued. Like I say, I'm 54, and there's a whole generation of young people who have leveraged information and get paid. And I was just laughing at this brother. I think his name is Matty J. Okay. He's a connector, and I'm a connector, but I always connect people. And I never asked for anything. I've never asked for anything. I've never connected somebody with the goal of trying to get paid. But he does it with celebrities all the time. And but he had a great point. Number one is you got to bring added value. Right. And so in bringing added value, and like you mentioned earlier, Kerwin, there's systems that if you're a business, well, like what I'm doing right now with the books, right? So if I say to you, if you want to self-publish, hit me. I'm not going to charge you because that's not my thing. Right. But there are systems that really it's just a matter of me introducing you to the system, and it does everything already. Yep. And so what he would do is negotiate a price, and that client would pay him monthly. And he said he almost felt bad because after, the business owner is almost mad because all you really did was turn me on to something that I wasn't aware of. But that's back to, like you said, that's where information is power. Because by turning you on to this, I've now expanded your business. Then should you really be mad that you got to pay it? But anyway, that's the kind of thinking that these new generation of kids are doing, because it's right. Having the information can change everything. Yep. And so that's the part that I think our generation is adjusting to. Some of us, I think, are the thing about technology that I think my generation has to realize is it's not like the old days where, you know, we started talking about the pendulum would swing forward and back. It's like stuff is obsolete. It's moving. So, you know what I'm saying? People be like, well, I don't really get into computers. You got to get, there's no longer, you know, the computer is now the pathway to the world now. So you can no longer say, I don't need to know that. No, you do need to know it. You know, even like with Clubhouse, so many of my friends that I sent an invitation to, because they don't understand the value of, they don't understand that it's invitation only and they only got 3 of them. I think 2 of the people didn't even respond to it, Kerwin. So I was stuck. I was mad because I gave you an opportunity to get a part of this new thing and they didn't even check it out. Right. And it's like, that's kind of how the world is. And you'll look up and you might be frozen out of being able to do some things because you were slow on the uptake.
Yeah, you're still on MySpace.
You're still on MySpace. You're still on MySpace. It's the computer is the portal to the world, and all these virtual meetings. Just like what just happened today. Kerwin was chilling somewhere. You saw me pop up. I was talking my talk. You said, man, let me see if I can get my book out here. Within minutes, you're here, and it's not a ton of people, but you got your book out to people who hadn't heard about it. And we got a great conversation. You never know who's going to see it, but you weren't afraid to hop on. You had your book ready. You know what I mean? You weren't like, okay, hold on, brother. Hold on now. Let me draw the picture. Here's the book right here. You know what I'm saying? And it was impressive. And that's kind of the world we're in now. You know, it's kind of like it could go just like that. And like you said, the Clubhouse thing is happening like that, like crazy, because it's bringing people together who are ready to pull the trigger. That's the one thing I will say. And Tavon, you said it earlier. When you're the hood or the people who don't get opportunity, when I went to, a friend of mine took me to Dubai, right? And the thing about over there, and he took me to Dubai and he took me to Silicon Valley. And my skill sets, I really couldn't help him. I could just be his man. I could just be, all I could do is be his right-hand man. And I'm in the meetings, but I really, because I didn't have the skill sets, I couldn't really deliver what he needed, but he just used me to kind of decompress and whatever. And so in the room with the venture capitalists on Silicon Valley, and in Dubai with the kings and the richest people in the world, the thing I thought was funny was in the hood at the barbershop, everybody has ideas and people frown about, almost crack on you, you know, man, you know, anybody. And when I realized in those rooms, they're all looking for ideas. That was the part that blew me away. They got all the money in the world. They're looking for the next idea. And there's a million ideas in the hood, right? And so that's another thing I realized, Tavon, that you could go and go, you could have a program and grab up some of those ideas and pay people for them. Because, the reason the hood doesn't really value the ideas, because nobody comes through with a check and grabs the idea. It just ends up being an idea that's never fulfilled. Right. But then these other people, that's their whole life. If it's a great idea, and out there, when we're out there, you know, with those people who funded Facebook and funded Starbucks and funded Google and funded all these ideas, you know, and they all started, you know, the plaques are on the wall. They basically are like, yep, we've invested in this. And we you know, the return is like, they want like, what, 50 times investment or 500 times investment. And so all for ideas. And so if you got a great idea, there's a place for you. Hold on to it, because somebody's looking for a great idea.
I think the only difference is the person in the hood with the idea doesn't have the resources to execute on it. Whereas if you go overseas to these, you know, these wealthy people, they have the resources. They just need to get the idea and they'll back it. You know, there's countless ideas I've had that at the time I didn't have the resources to execute it. But then years later, I see somebody else pop up with the idea.
Oh, you see it, man.
And you know,
Yeah.
I was gonna say I had a friend of mine who actually had the idea for Facebook years before Facebook existed.
Wow.
But at the time, he didn't have, he launched something small, but it didn't reach them the magnitude of what Facebook was. And then years later, he saw what Facebook grew into, and like, wow, I actually had an idea before, but just couldn't execute on it.
And that's the other thing. That's what's funny with this Clubhouse piece is that, Master P and different people are saying, some people even frustrated, they're like, man, why can't we have, this side? And it's the way they did it is interesting by getting the right influencers on the platform. They did it in a kind of sexy manner. They did it. They got the celebrities on first. They got, the influencers on first. So that makes it kind of powerful because you could, see people that you would normally not have access to having a conversation in the room, from Kevin Hart to Tiffany Haddish to Musk,
Right.
So yeah, I mean, and I think that is something that we're trying to figure out. I think we're trying to figure out how do we do it like that, and I think it's a challenge. I mean, I don't have the answer. I'm like, Master P's like, well, I can do my own. It's like, yeah, but I don't know if it's going to be the same.
I think what it is, you hear the analogy about someone saying that someone else's ice is colder than theirs. It could be the same analogy where you think, okay, well, if Roberts, if Pookie from over here has the idea, it may not work. But if Robert Jones from so and so has the same idea, or that it looks more, it looks better from him as opposed to Pookie when it's the exact same thing.
It does.
It's so.
And it's funny because and as we know, there's a reason for that.
Yes.
That was the other thing. When I went over to Dubai, the thing that stood out the most was you meet a brother, a Muslim brother, and his last name takes you back, a million generations.
Right.
Based on his last name. You know what I'm saying? So when we say that name means something, that name means something, because I might be broke, but my cousin could be rich.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what they took away from us, because that's why Black folks from other places have, in some ways, have more power than African Americans. Because when my brother from Africa goes into the bank, they really don't know who he is. You know what I'm saying? Right. His cousin could be a king.
Right. But Prince Hakeem from Zamunda, you don't even know.
You don't know. but when Mark Clark goes in there, they be like, "Oh, he broke." Mark Clark? Oh no, he don't have no. And let's see. Lenora says, "Thanks, Lenora." Yeah, girl. Yep. Just trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out. We're all trying to figure it out.
We all
are. Okay, Tavon. It was so funny. The T-shirt, with the website. I have a T-shirt guy, and one of my friends was saying, "Mark, you should have your own, buy your own, da 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 da." And you're right. And it's like at the time, even though the T-shirt is not that expensive, even
right,
I just wasn't in a position to just do it, because again, that is how it works, Yes, Lenore, we lost it. But they purposely, that's what they destroyed, because with it, we're too powerful. I said, okay, we got some networking going on right now. I see you, Ronald and Tavon. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what it's all about.
But that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Yeah, they took it because it's too powerful. It's like, and that is, you realize that's exactly what it is. With that, watching the Fred Hampton movie,
oh wow, yeah.
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah.
It was, they were talking about bringing everybody together. And there's a reason why we're not together. There's a reason, like right now, we're probably the most distant we've ever been.
Yep.
Because when we're together, we can really make some changes. When we're apart, we can't.
Right.
And so like Trump created it. So we were moving towards togetherness, but now we're apart again. And again, that takes another 8 years before we start talking to each other, because I'm mad as hell right now.
Yeah.
So look, all right, brother. So how can they get your book, Kerwin Phillip?
Yes, sir. It's available on my website, maliksfirstjob.com. order from the website, you get an autographed copy. Or if you want to get the ebook, it's on Amazon. You just search Malik's First Job, and it'll come up. The paperback and the ebook is available on Amazon. But again, if you want to get that added special touch with the personalized signature, go ahead to maliksfirstjob.com.
Appreciate you, man. Lenora, that's right. The system is something else. Yes. That's where I'm at now at 54. Yeah. I keep saying my age only because I think you arrive. It's like playing in the NFL, playing in the league. By the time you figure it all out, you're at the end.
Right.
So the blessing, you try to, you got to stay fit and stay relevant and stay sharp, because the young people need that information. They need that voice. And so that's where I am. That's where I've arrived at now, is that I want to share that information. I want to share, like we talked about, the trust, and share, how important it is to not lose the family crib. And I just saw a thing on, one of the documentaries, and talking about how when the highways came through, how they put the highways in the Black communities, and they snatch up and Allison, my wife, was just saying she remembers her grandparents in Charleston when the I came through and they offer them some little money for the crib, not realizing. And the part about the system that's effed up is that you can fight, kinda. You know what I mean? You can, like, in those situations, you could say, "No, we're not selling," to a point, because then they'll just declare,
eminent domain.
Eminent domain. So it's a catch-22. In New York, wow. But it's like it's a catch-22, right? Because you fight having the information, but they do eminent domain, and so you're all the way out of it.
Yeah. And I think it kind of touches to what you were speaking about earlier. You can't fight as an individual, right? So let's say collectively, if you and your neighbors are in a certain area and you all say no, that gives you more power. That gives you more say. But as you said, if they work and intentionally divide everyone, and then they can kind of point you out as an individual, then it makes it easier because you can't fight the system.
Exactly.
But collectively, you see the whole thing with the I'll compare it to the whole GameStop situation.
Right.
Where people banded together and fought against, the whole the folks that were trying to short sell the GameStop stock.
And the plus that we have now that Trump used, that we could take cues from, he turned Twitter into his personal newspaper. He turned it into his personal,
communication.
Kind of and we can do the same thing because we're so active on social media. Yeah. If we have movements or something we're trying to do, if somebody's out there sharing it every day and intentionally going after something, it could really happen. Imagine if people said, if a group of people, Black folks, started targeting businesses that are companies that are raggedy as far as their treatment of Black people, the diversity within their company, and so forth. And if it was a targeted effort, so you say you zeroed in on Coca-Cola and said, all right, we're going to bombard Coca-Cola with millions of articles and whatever. It could be very powerful. Nobody's really doing it. The funny part to me was when Michael Baisden first came on, and he tapped into it. He tapped into it a little bit with some of the things that were going on, but he didn't really he didn't really make that turn. He kind of just did like we kind of always do and turn it into a party. We'll have some momentum, but then we'll turn it into a party.
So they do the electric slide.
But now, granted, let's keep it real. When you get serious, though, then they turn up the heat seriously too. Yeah. So it's a catch-22 now.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it could be done. It could be done as long as if we have that unified mind, and have that dedication and commitment to one another, then we can make anything happen. Like I tell, like I always reference when I talk to my kids. I talk to my kids all the time about different things. You look at the bus boycott. People were willing to sacrifice for a whole year.
Yes.
Not to ride the bus, right? But nowadays, let's say if you try to do that now, you'll have some folks like, I got to get to work. I ain't got time for all that. You know, they're not willing to make that sacrifice. Look, I got bills to pay. I can't, you know, be fooling with y'all in this whole bus thing, right? You know, so it's different. It's different climate, and you know, people feel like different pressures, but it's something that we have to get back to.
And the character of our leadership, that's a real conversation we have to have too. The character of our leadership has been shaky, and that's why people don't believe in it, because they either sold out or they're shaky. And we got to have a real conversation about that, and we don't. You know what I mean? People don't want to really go there, but it's like, no, if you're asking me to follow you, bruh, you're going to have to be legitimate. But then, like you said, a lot of us don't want to risk our family and risk blame. So we're kind of like in an interesting situation. But so Ronald out here got the link out here. I appreciate you, Ronald. Ronald's like, hit this link.
Okay.
I love it. Lenora's chiming in. We coming back.
Yeah.
Lenora says, I'm from Connecticut. Yep. That's true. And we do divide ourselves. Yes. We're gonna keep doing it. So Kerwin, we're gonna keep doing it, right?
Yes, sir. We got to keep doing it. We have no other choice.
I got your email. Look at Ron. Ron got a whole situation set up. That's my man right there.
All right, cool.
Ron, I didn't even recognize you, skinny. All right, y'all. So no, leadership is scared. Well, let's keep it real. As we saw in the 60s, if you really are doing something, they're probably going to take you out.
Right.
And I think a lot of our older, I think, you know, no disrespect, but I think Jesse, Farrakhan, Al Sharpton, I think people who witnessed it made a decision. Not to say they didn't lead, and not to say that they did not make a huge impact in our communities, because they did. But I think they did to a point, because that next step puts you in a whole different, you know, ball of wax, right?
Yeah, as you saw in the movie Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yes.
That COINTELPRO situation is very serious.
And
situation. And
here's the part, you know, I criticize the leadership, but then I'm going to criticize us. We didn't have their backs. You know, when the King children and Malcolm X's children and Medgar Evers' children, were we there for them? Were we there for them financially? Were we there for them in support? No. And, you know, I look at it as my family. Would I be willing to put my children in danger for the cause? Hell no. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? And that's not good. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not proud of that, but that's a reality, you know? And so, you know,
that's a whole nother conversation.
I know. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me on here, man. I appreciate it.
That's right. Ron. That's right. Ron has a podcast. Make sure y'all check out Ron.
All right.
He's doing this thing, Ronald Hunt. And, you know, I'll be hopping on the noon show. I'll be back on the noon show. I'll hit you, Kerwin, because we're doing a conversation on, you have girls or boys?
I have 2 boys and a girl.
Okay. So we got today we're having a conversation on Clubhouse with Daddies and Daughters with David Miller. Shout out to David Miller.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll keep you in the loop.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Lenora. So Lenora got that spirit. The spirit. All right, y'all. Look, have a great one. Everybody be safe. If you want to join the Reinvention crew, join us 7:15 tomorrow on Allison and Mark in the afternoon, and on all the other Facebook channels and YouTube. And I will talk to you soon. Also, if you want to get the book at reinventingmarkclark.com. If you haven't logged on to reinventingmarkclark.com, please do. Check it out. You can buy books, T-shirts, all kind of stuff, and there's a lot of good information there. All right, y'all, be good.